Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, I'll be going through probably the worst round you will ever see on this channel, in which I only scored a 1673, a round rank of almost 60,000, and I dropped over 4,000 in ranks. So that makes me want to actually change things up on the way I'm approaching AFL Fantasy for the rest of the year, and to prove to you why, in my belief, why going a certain way in which I will in my trades from now on, and why that won't work in the long run. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be taking sort of pot shots for the rest of the year, because one, I still have Supercoach that I'm going pretty well in. Two, I just want to have some fun and not really stress about my trades as much. And then three, I also want to be able to sort of showcase to you and sort of provide more sort of backing on why sort of cash generation and taking pot shots on guys that are in like mini form in like purple patch is not really the best way to go about fantasy. So that's sort of, it's sort of going to be an instructive year, as my cash gen has just sort of fallen flat on its face, and that's sort of what I'm going to be trying to achieve for the rest of the year, is just to sort of show you guys why going for these 700Kers or these 800Kers that aren't really top of the line and have just had sort of an L3 of like a 105, 110, and why they're not necessarily probably the greatest trade-ins. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on, especially with the next couple days. There will be 3 videos each day, as we have the Wednesday game. For some dumb reason, we have a Wednesday game, so that'll be that'll take a lot of my time today on Tuesday to get all those videos recorded and uploaded for you guys and scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday. But anyway, let's get into the video. So 1673, and how poor was this? Team value of 18.963 million, as well as having like 560k in the bank. And what's it at now? It is at 19 point. Yeah, I'm probably, I would say, still about 1 million behind the top guys. And yeah, I just messed up. Messed up at the top end with a lot of these guys, and that's something I'll need to. That's something I'll learn, is that trying to jump on mid prices is not the way to go. At the end of the day, it is rookies and I guess primos that are the best way to go. And yeah, that was a bad mistake. But Sheasel, 106 captained. He finally failed to a certain extent. 106 apparently got walked around a little bit in the or monitored by the Hawks after his sort of first quarter blitz, which sucks. Whitfield 93 didn't get to the ton, which was kind of disappointing. But anyway, we move, and he was all right. He's still going to be top 6. Hayden Young sat basically the full last quarter, so for any of the non-owners, that was good for them. But he's fine. Apparently, he's fine. From Rhino said that, so I trust that source. Elliot Yo, 88, he's fine, doing what he needs to do. He's going to be close to a top 6 defender, but he's going to be one of the first sort of, one of the last trade outs if we ever get to that point. Massimo, 33, subbed out, wasn't even injured apparently, so he's a must-go, and this is sort of where my problems, the defense is just somewhere that I want to just move out of next year. That was just, yeah, it's been a horror show in the defense this year with Williams, Massimo, Zach Reed, Caulfield, who else? Gibcus, do we have Gibcus at any time? We may have. Yeah, it just has been an absolute horror show. Closely 73 didn't get to the what he's been doing formerly, but a 73 from him, and he's been a massive positive, I would say. And he's getting cash quick enough. Zach Reed's, 2 weeks away now, something like that. He's getting back. And Blake Howes was on the bye. Then we moved to the midfield in one of the brighter spots in the team. Bond 110, that was just a massive mistake. And something I'll need to learn from is it's a lot easier to, I guess, spread out the cash. I think that's the best way across the line. And paying up for Bond was just one of the dumb decisions. And yeah, I think that's proof in the pudding, I guess, with the fact of the early buys and how he's underperformed to a lot, but also just picking up guys that have historical value is a lot better than just trying to go for a Bont, as that extra cash can be used in the first couple of weeks to get those cash generators, etc., and to fix up mid prices, etc., which we weren't really able to do. Butters 117, he was amazing, especially in the first quarter. 56 after quarter time, I believe. So did slow down a little bit, but did the damage enough in the first quarter. And the Pies had to sort of run alongside him. And that's what they did. And the Pies came back and won. So, I mean, Zach Butters' effort was in vain. Jack Steele had a horror show, 87, but he's fine. He's now 127 break even. And yeah, this is what I talk about with Steele shouldn't be on your radar for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And honestly, should be one of those guys that you maybe you look at in like round. Well, he's got North in a couple of weeks. Maybe you look at in the buys or something like that. Maybe you trade into him then, as he should be roughly probably 950, 940k, and that'll be a lot easier to trade in. Nick Martin, doing Nick Martin type things, and yeah, he'll slide back into the defense most likely, or depending on if I get day costs or not. If I go full whirlwind with my trades, we'll wait and see on that one. But yeah, Nick Martin, he did his job basically, and is now going to slot in as he is averaging like 108 or something. Yeah, 108.2, so he's doing his job. Bonner, 83, and because of all the chaos, he has to stay, but he's doing his job. He's not necessarily... He's sort of 5 or 6 off. If I can get him back into the defender line, which is what I would really want to, then he'd be doing his job. But as a midfielder, he's like 10, 15 points off the pace, which isn't that bad necessarily. So I'm just going to keep him at the moment and just hope he can pop another big score. Matty Roberts, 89, he's doing his job as well. So these two guys are going to stay for a while. Jeremy Sharp, he's doing his job as well. It was a 74 against the Eagles, but I don't think necessarily wingers have a tendency to go big or not against the bad sides. I mean, he went 73 against North and 74 against the Eagles, so it sort of shows his score isn't reliant on, I guess, the team that he's playing against. So Western Bulldogs, hopefully he can get another big score and get towards that sort of 650k range, as he is projected to get upwards of another 46k before dropping apparently a stinker against the Swans of a 48. I don't expect that, to be honest with you, as he just has an injury affected game against us, so I think that's why that's heavily weighted down. So yeah, I expect him to probably, I would expect him to probably get to 640k or so. I reckon that's around the marker that he'll get to, and then he'll stop and that'll be cash and done. But for 280k, for him to get, 360k or so, that'll be huge for the cash generation, and has been. Will Graham, and this is the thing that sucks, is I reckon he was about a 60 guy, but I think his first couple of games inflated him, and let's just hope he can get back with the Eagles game coming up. Hopefully he can just get a lot more midfield time as they really try, and hopefully the Gold Coast Suns, even though it is the Eagles who are on the up, hopefully he can get some midfield time and get some really good scores, as a really good score in terms of like tackling, etc. As he has put up decent tackling numbers. 22 in 3 games. But hopefully he can get that sort of 15 disposal, 3 mark, 10 tackle game that gets him upwards of, what would that be? Somewhere around that 90 score. And that will be huge for cash generation. And here's where my week basically fell apart, is not having the 2 good ruckmen for the week. Rowan Marshall had a stinker, 3 games in 11 days. I should have thought about that, and that's something that I'll consider in the off-season sort of things that went wrong and things to consider when doing trades, etc. is just the fixturing, as that has been a major hassle with the last couple, with like the Pies and now the Saints. All those players had stinkers when they had that 3rd game in the 12 or 11 days that they had it in. Luke Jackson lost his role, and it seems like he is an almost trade out, but I might do weird and wacky things and he may stay, but we'll wait and see on that one. Isaac Heaney, he did his job, 113, huge. Tom Powell, 82, a lot of people are thinking why maybe trade him out or whatnot. He is absolutely fine. Zach Fisher, a 60. I don't think he is the problem at the moment, and I think if they do move Sheasel, that Zach Fisher will get a better role, and I just think that he's going along all right. I mean, he could be better, but I don't think he is necessarily the problem. Then you have Ollie Dempsey. He got his way to a 54, which was a little bit unders, but there was no marking involved, and that's one of the heavy assets of him. So hopefully in dry conditions against Carlton, he'll do absolutely fine. And hopefully he can get his break even starting to go in the right direction. If he can get a big game in the next sort of 3, that'll help. So yeah, he probably will be kept as well. Darcy Wilson, 61, he keeps on producing when needed. So The 61 from him was huge. Seth Campbell on the bye, but used him to loop in the Hugo Garcia 71, who looks really good as well. And he's one of the last sort of cash generators that I can see at the moment, as a lot of the other guys we hope aren't going to be that type of guy that comes in for 1 or 2 games. Say they do what a Hugo Garcia does, but in round 23 and 24, and they end up 2 games 62 average, then that'll price them at like 500k, then 400k, 450k the next year, which is just not good enough for a third game player to really select them. So hopefully we don't get that in for 2025. Then we go down here, and Harry Barnett was just flicked around to get Luke Jackson on field, and Lazaro keeps on being sub when he shouldn't be sub. I don't know why they went Will Phillips. Will Phillips is just a failed pick, and they're just almost trying to hope that because they paid pick 3 for him, that he would be good enough. He was not even putting up good enough numbers in the VFL, to be honest. He was putting up like 24 and 5 tackles or whatnot, something like that. It wasn't even great numbers. And because a lot of the North fans were saying, oh yeah, we got to get Will Phillips, and we got to get Will Phillips, and he's doing well in the VFL. And then you look at guys like let's actually look at this DFS to show you what I mean by this, and what so we go to player summary, because Will Phillips is just not good enough to honestly be playing. It's as simple as that. If I could spell his name right, here we go. Then we go here, and look at his VFL form. What's that? 21, 20, 30 touches, and what's that? 21, 26 tackles. So he is actually getting 8 tackles a game, but he's only getting, averaging 90 in the VFL here. Then we go to look at a Sheldrick, and you will see exactly what I mean. Sheldrick, who I believe was the same draft maybe, or maybe a draft after, but look at him in the VFL, 120 on 10 marks, 3 tackles, 30 touches. In the VFL here, 36 touches, 18 touches here, 36 touch here. He's more so dominating the VFL than the likes of a Will Phillips. I think if you look at not McDonald, Ward, did he have a good game? Josh Ward. There is a ton of guys in the twos that have been really. Ward a 126 on a 27 touch, 4 mark, 7 tackle game, a 38 touch, a 28 touch, a 21 touch. So these are the type of guys that they're more consistent in the VFL, to be honest with you. I think. And there is countless guys that I could turn to that were having 6, 7, 8 more touches a game than Will Phillips in a midfield role, and they were churning out much better scores as well as tackling just as much, and they were averaging sort of 115 or so in the VFL, and they were going, and you wanted Will Phillips in there when you already had Powell. Wardlaw was managed for the week, so he'll be back. Then you had LDU, and you also had Simpkin there. You had the potential for Sheasel to go in. There was already way too many midfielders. And the problem with North is their defense at the moment is horrific. Their key defenders, they didn't really draft a key defender. And that's sort of what's gone wrong for them. Or they haven't really traded for a key defender in the last couple of years until now, where they traded for 2, and they're still raw. So that's sort of the problem with North Melbourne at the moment, is they haven't got their timelines right of getting their defence prepped up. But my team is absolute shambles, and hopefully I can just sort of make some wonder trades, I guess, and show you that wonder trades and risking it all doesn't really work. So that is sort of the thoughts behind the next, how the rest of their fantasy season will work. For me, I'm projecting that I'll probably get an overall rank of like 10k or so. I've just made some mistakes, some logical mistakes, and some mistakes now with hindsight that were wrong. I would have still done the same move. Some of the moves I still would have done, even with because they were logical, but some of the moves that I did, like Harley Reid and Bontempelli, those decisions, they were not logical. Even with hindsight, they were not logical, and so they would be differences that I would make going into next year. But that pretty much is the video, and I'll see you guys in the trade targets and cash cows for round 7. So I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.